Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about The 100, episode 313, titled Join or Die, which premiered Thursday, April 28, 2016 on the CW. Guys, so sorry for the delay. I had things that needed first priority this weekend, so everything just kind of backed up from there. But I'm here, so let's do 10-minute clock, and let's begin. So something that we learned in this episode. So basically, I'm going to break this down into three little parts here. But the first part is that we got to see flashbacks back to the Ark. And they start 2 weeks before the series premiere, which is the launch of the drop ship with all the delinquents on it. So in this flashbacks, it shows Chancellor Jaha telling Pike that he needs to teach an Earth skills lesson to the delinquents in preparation for them going to the ground. Although Pike is not supposed to tell them that this is why they're having the lessons. So Pike isn't aware of the fact that the Ark is dying, but he figures it out because of the fact that they're desperate enough that they're sending Clark and Wells down to the ground. So they have to have like really pretty good evidence of the fact that they can survive down there if the Chancellor's son and the top doctor are sending their kids down. In this flashback lesson, we actually see Octavia, and we see this is the first time she's actually around other people in the classroom, even because before she was arrested, no one knew she existed, so she was very isolated. So we also see Murphy, we see Harper, we see Jasper, Miller, Fox, Roma, Dax, a lot of characters, and Monroe too. A lot of characters that have died already in the present day. So it's great to see familiar faces. It's great to see how they were before the ground affected them. So that was always fun. And so we see 2 weeks before the launch, we see their last class, graduation day, as Pike puts it. And his last lesson was a very aggressive one. He actually uses Murphy as his quote-unquote assistant. And he pretty much beats him and tries to force Murphy to fight back. This only gets quite a few of the delinquents to rally together to save Murphy from Pike. So there's that. And then we also see launch day of the drop ship, and it shows everyone from the lesson, as well as an unconscious Clark having her wristband put on by Abby. And then we also see Bellamy pretending to be a guard sneak past everyone and get on the dropship. He actually uses Roma as a distraction tactic by grabbing her and forcing her onto the ship as a guard would do. Although they never noticed the fact he doesn't come off the ship. So it was great to see the flashback in the sense that it was interesting to see where all these delinquents were before the ground affected them. You don't see Finn, though. You don't see Wells. He's only mentioned. So that was a little disappointing. You don't see Monty in the flashback as well. So, again, even Jasper brings it up. He's trying to figure out where Monty is. So at least that didn't go unnoticed by him. So there's that. Moving on to the present day, though, back on the ground, we are going to go into the search for Luna and her clan. And this is being done by Bellamy, Clark, Octavia, and Jasper, who finally make it to the ocean shore and to where Lincoln had drawn where this meeting place is supposed to be. Essentially, it looks like it's a graveyard with all these different totems set up. So that gives a misdirect for the team until they accidentally figure out that you need to create a signal fire to signal Luna's people. And that's how they know to come to see a meeting. During this, before the boat people come, we get Bellamy and Clark having a moment and realizing that they really need to come together. They can't be at odds with each other. They have to forgive each other, if not themselves at this point, so that them working together gives them a better odds of getting out of this alive. So just after they have their hug that we've been teased since the December promo, the boat people come. And they provide safe passage to Luna, who is told about the commander and why they're there with the flame, but Luna refuses to become the commander because she refused to kill. So that's a little disconcerting for our group. but then they've come to realize that the Boat Clan actually lives on a sea drilling rig. They're out in the ocean on this massive rig, and they're really are away from the ground, essentially. So that's quite a surprise for them. Now, moving on to Polis, though, we see Pike and Cain finally arriving in Polis after being taken from the blockade border, and they come to find Polis in shambles. They see grounders nailed to crosses like Jesus all along Polis, blood everywhere, people just randomly sitting on the streets as if in a prayer, and then you see a mix of grounders with Arcadians, which tips them off to the fact that something isn't right. And we find out that Jaha is essentially in lead, with Ali being his invisible backup. And Antari tells her grounders who just arrived to take the key, and they do. Pike refuses to take it, so he's sent to I guess their dungeon version. And then Cain is essentially taken to be questioned and interrogated by Abby, who at this point he doesn't know is chipped, and she's trying to figure out where Clark is. When Cain realizes that she's chipped, and yet he doesn't know where Clark is, and he refuses to take the key, Cain gets nailed to a cross, and he's raised up. And it's gruesome, for sure. He refuses to take the key, even to lessen his own pain from being nailed to a cross. But when Jaha threatens Abby's life, Cain agrees to take the key to save her. So Cain is now chipped. Thankfully, he does not know where Clark or the others are or what their plans were. So at least there's that saving grace for them, but he's lost them. Also, we see Pike in his prison cell, and that is where he comes face to face with Murphy again, as well as Indra, who wants justice for her slaughtered army. So Indra manages to get free from her chains, and she gives chained up Pike 300 cuts for every slaughtered man that died by Pike's hands. And Pike takes it. He tells her to dish it out. He takes it. Although instead of killing Pike like she wanted, Murphy reasons with her and every other grounder in that cell that they need Pike if they ever want a chance to fight against Jaha and his army with Ali. So unfortunately, Indra agrees, but she says she will get her revenge, just not today with Pike. So there's that. So what was the most shocking moment of the episode? For me, it definitely has to be the flashbacks, especially Pike's last lesson to the delinquents and how aggressive it was and how far he was willing to take it just to prove his point that they need a fight in order to survive. Because with that delinquent class, they just really didn't care about class. I bet you if they were told that they were going to the ground, they would have paid more attention. It seemed like Octavia definitely paid attention too. We saw that in the present day as well when she was repeating the lessons that Pike had given them. Also, another shocking moment was the fact that Luna refused to become the next commander. I was shocked by that. I thought after Clark had told her that when she's leader, she can decide how to lead, and that if she doesn't want to kill, then she doesn't have to kill through lead. I thought that might have been the deciding thing for Luna, and that if she didn't want to lead by killing, then it's her choice now as the new commander, but she still refuses. So that was surprising for sure. And another shocking thing is the fact that they actually nailed Cain to a cross. That was so gruesome. I cringe whenever, even just hearing that sound, even though they don't show him actually being nailed, although we do see him nailed to the cross later on. It sent shivers down my spine. It's just uncomfortable for sure. Okay, moving on to top 3 favorite moments. Guys, you already know what is my favorite moment of all time for this episode, and it is Bellamy and Clark. Finally got that teased hug. Finally got a moment between them where they actually opened up and they were saying how they want forgiveness. Or initially Bellamy was worried that he had lost Octavia, and Clark is telling him that she just needs time and that everything would be fine. and that it's not his fault. Although he blames himself, he knows Octavia blames him, and he knows that forgiveness isn't easy for the both of them. So then that moves on to his resentment towards Clark and how he doesn't want to feel angry towards her anymore. And then they finally agree that they could forgive each other, although it's going to take time to forgive themselves. So that was fantastic. It was great to see them on the same page again. And I'm glad that we got the hug as well. There's the timer. I'm a little pissed that the boat people interrupted it, but it was great to see them finally taking a stand together again, being on the same page. Also, when they had to take that vial in order to get safe passage, as they said, I love how when just moments before Bellamy, hold on. I love just how moments before Bellamy grows unconscious, both him and Clark go to the ground to soften the blow, I guess you could say. Clark is knocked out first because of her taking the vial first, and then Bellamy, expecting to grow unconscious, he looks to Clark as he lowers himself down so that he's laying when he's knocked out. And the last thing he sees is an unconscious Clark. I love that he didn't take his eyes off her, and just how like it was comforting for him to see that even though he was being knocked out by this unknown vial, that his last view and thought was of her. And I really like that. I'm a huge fan of them, guys, if you haven't picked up on that already. But I have to move forward. Next favorite moment is the flashbacks for me for the arc. It was very nice to see the different points in the flash within those 2 weeks. It was great to see that 2-week mark, and then the last day of class, and then the actual launch day. It was great to see the familiar faces of those who we have lost in the present day. It was great just to see how far they've come, especially with Murphy's I don't care attitude or Octavia's shy attitude, and to then immediately go to where they are in the present day is just, it still amazes me how far they've grown. And it's fantastic. It's great to see where they were and then where they are now. And then the launch day. I really liked how they also included Clark and Bellamy on that launch day. I like how they included some of the footage used in the series premiere. I love the fact that they used the song Radioactive again for the launch day sequence. Just a slower version of the song, because in the series premiere that song was featured when the kids finally stepped foot on the ground. So it's definitely a great throwback, yet done in a different way, and I definitely like that for sure. So it was clever of them. And last favorite moment is the fact that we actually got to meet Luna, and we got to see just a bit of how these boat people or boat clan people operate, and just what type of protocols they have, where they're even stationed. The fact that they're on a sea drilling rig is pretty cool. So it's great to see that, and I hope we get to see more of them, and we get to see more of an understanding as to why she has refused to take the flame to become a commander. All right, top peeve moment. It's only one, or actually two. But first one is the fact that Kane got nailed to that cross. It was so gruesome, like I mentioned before. It's just, ugh. I can handle some things when it comes to TV shows because I know it's fictional. But to know that, yeah, for some reason that one really got to me. Or I guess it's surprising that they went that far with a TV show like this, based on their target audience and all that. So there's that. Then again, earlier on they beheaded kids, so there's that craziness. So second moment was the fact that Pike is pretty much going to be spared because of the fact that he's going to be useful in escape against Allie and her army, which I just hate, and I knew it. If only they had killed him when they had the chance, because then now he has more time to weasel his way out of an execution for all the trouble he's caused. So there's that. So moving on, what moment I remember most when I look back on this episode? The Bellark hug hello. That's like a big indicator for me. Also the fact that it seems that Pike and the delinquents are now the only Arcadians not to be chipped from the looks of it. and the flashback episodes are definitely be a big reminder for me. So moving on to random questions. First one, why do you think Luna refuses to be the commander? Personally, I really don't, especially when Clark told Luna that as the leader, she can decide how to lead. I thought that would be a deciding vote for her, that like, okay, if I don't want to kill, then as the new leader, I don't have to rule by killing. I thought that would have been some sway for her, but apparently not. So hopefully we'll find out soon as to why exactly she refuses to be the new commander. Will that change when she finds out about all of her people being chipped by an artificial intelligence? There's that. Second question, any chance that the remaining delinquents could all move to live on Luna's isolated sea drilling rig? I would totally be up for that. It seems like they have their own little slice of the world that they could just live in peace out there. I would totally be for it. Definitely interesting to see how they are able to survive on the drilling rig and how they coordinate going to land to get their supplies and stuff like that. Last question. I'm still trying to figure out exactly who could take the flame, but based in the Grounder lore, we know that the Nightbloods are the only ones that could take it. But if Becca was able to take the flame and she is a former Arcadian, then is it possible that other Arcadians could take it because of the fact that they would have had the same gene therapy that Becca had? Or all the Arcadians that we had now are descended from people who have had the same gene therapy that Becca had? Or does it specifically need to be the black blood that is the true indicator that they could take the flame or not? Because I'm still set on some of the behind-the-scene photos that I've seen with the City of Light and a certain couple, but I'm trying to figure out how that's possible if one of them's life would be in danger if they took the flame. So I'm just trying to figure out the logistics behind that. But if you know anything about that, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear an answer for that or some kind of theory behind it. That'd be great. But moving on to predictions, though. Based off the promo for 314, it looks like Raven gets closer to cracking Allie's code. And it looks like that Allie's backpack might be rigged to eradicate the city if it's destroyed, which seems to be Murphy's new mission. According to the synopsis, though, for the episode, Clark, Bellamy, Octavia, and Jasper hit a tragic roadblock that could be alluding to Luna's refusal to become a commander. Not sure yet. But also, it seems that Raven and Monty make an important discovery that probably has to deal with Allie's code, but we'll have to wait and see for that. But overall, I am sensing some close calls coming up, especially when timing is concerned. At least that's the vibe I got from the promo. But it seems that a lot of split-second decisions that could affect other people elsewhere could come into play. I also think that Clark has to find out why Luna refuses to be the next commander. Hopefully she can find a way to persuade her to do it so that they can get access to the flame and figure out a way to shut Allie down. Also, I'm still waiting for a true visual of the City of Lights. All we've ever seen is Jaha and Allie and some futuristic landscape in the background as the City of Lights, but I actually want to see other people who have been chipped in the City of Lights. I want to see just to what extent the City of Lights is. I'm thinking it's what a cityscape for us would look like, as opposed to what it would look like for an eradicated Earth, like the 100. But I definitely need to see more of that. So that's it for that. But let's move on to my top 5 favorite episodes, guys. You know the drill. I got 2 separate lists. One specifically that is ship-focused and another that is non-ship focused. And it's just whatever reminder or what is really going to make me remember this episode. And let's just see if it makes the top 5 for each list. So I definitely say for the ship-focused list that episode 313 moves into the number 2 spot because of Bellamy and Clark and their little talk and their hug. It's just, I love them. So now all my top 5 ship moments are all because of Bellark. It's just whether or not I want what type of vibe I've got. So that's all fun right there. Unfortunately, guys, for the non-ship focused list, episode 313 comes in at number 9, and that is because of the flashbacks. to the arc. So unfortunately, it's not top 5, but it was really good episode, and I'm definitely gonna remember it for flashbacks after remembering it for Bellark. So there is that, and I'll probably post. Well, I plan to post a more detailed reasons list for this back on my website. Still working on the website, but be on the lookout for that. Probably be up by the time the final the season finally ends. So, but that's it, guys. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you like about it? What do you think's gonna happen next? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it, as well as your own thoughts, theories, and predictions of what's to come in the final 3 episodes of this season. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want more news about the 100, whether it's promos, sneak peeks, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, anything like that, check out my Tumblr page. Links for that will be down below. You got one for this episode specifically. You got one for the page that'll lead you to the master list of all the 100 related tags. For that one, just click it and then scroll to the very bottom, and there you go. For Tumblr, though, I'm like behind by like a month, so be patient. I definitely plan to get back to updating that after this hectic work week I have coming. So be patient, and I thank you for it as well. I thank you for tuning in to this late posting of the episode. I truly appreciate it. I'm sorry if I'm delaying again. It's just once you get into the rhythm of things, and then something snags that rhythm, everything just bombshells from that. So I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, this is Mel. Wishing you a great day, great week wherever you are. Bye for now, guys.